The relationship between John Lennon and Paul McCartney was never just a musical collaboration. It was a battle of ego, emotion, and artistic intelligence that lasted for more than a decade. From the outside, the Beatles looked like the ideal friendship. From the inside, they were two extreme personalities, constantly testing each other's limits. John Lennon, sharp, confrontational, and never hesitant to tear down myths, including the myth of himself. Paul McCartney, structured, melodic, perfectionistic, always trying to turn chaos into songs the world could sing. After the Beatles broke up, Lennon became the most ruthless executioner of his own past, especially when it came to Paul's songs. Yet therein lies the greatest irony of all. John Lennon knew exactly when Paul McCartney was at the peak of his genius, and that recognition, whether expressed through praise, silence, or sarcasm, can still be read to this day. Here are 10 Paul McCartney songs that, from number 10 to number 1, show how even John Lennon could not turn a blind eye to the brilliance of his former partner. Number 10. Golden Slumbers. Within the Abbey Road medley, Golden Slumbers is often treated as a mere connector, a brief song before the climax. But when listened to more closely, this is precisely where the emotional heart of Abbey Road beats the slowest and the most honestly. This is not a song about glory, nor about sonic experimentation. It is a song about fatigue that can no longer be hidden. Paul came across Thomas Decker's poem almost by accident, yet its words felt like a message across time, an invitation to stop struggling for a moment, to close one's eyes without guilt, to admit that human beings, even legends, can grow tired. In 1969, that message cut deep. The Beatles were no longer functioning as a band that supported one another. They were still making music together, but emotionally, they were already walking separate paths. John Lennon heard Golden Slumbers not as childhood nostalgia, but as Paul's confession of exhaustion. This was not Paul, the controlling perfectionist. It was Paul who wanted everything to end with dignity. Lennon respected that because he knew a song like this cannot be faked. It is too fragile, too honest, too human. Number 9. Michelle. John Lennon often felt allergic to Paul's love songs. To him, many of them sounded too safe, too sweet, too made to be liked. But Michelle quietly shattered that prejudice. There is no emotional explosion here, no dramatic climax. Michelle moves slowly, with complete control, as if Paul knew exactly where the song was going and felt no need to rush getting there. The use of French is not a mere exotic decoration. It creates emotional distance, making the song feel mature, elegant, and slightly untouchable. This is not a song about possessive love or emotional dependence. It is about calm, fully grown affection. Lennon, whose life was filled with conflict, jealousy, and emotional wounds, saw something he rarely encountered in pop music: romance without drama. And precisely because of that, he respected it. Michelle does not scream to be loved, it simply exists, confident in its quietness. Number 8. Blackbird. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings. If Lennon channeled politics through shouting, slogans, and direct confrontation, Paul chose an almost opposite path. Blackbird is a protest song that nearly whispers. Written amid the turmoil of the American Civil Rights Movement, Paul used a simple metaphor: a black bird learning to fly after being wounded for so long. There are no speeches, no explicit anger, yet that is exactly where its power lies. The message does not command, it invites empathy. Lennon understood the risk. A song like this could be misread as apolitical, even naive. But he also knew that not all forms of resistance need to be loud. Blackbird proved that gentleness could be an extraordinarily sharp artistic weapon. In the quiet of that acoustic guitar, Lennon heard a different kind of courage, and he respected it. Number 7. The Long and Winding Road.
The long and winding road.
At first glance, The Long and Winding Road sounds like an ordinary heartbreak ballad, but beneath its gentle melody lies exhausting honesty. Paul wrote this song when the relationships within the Beatles were already nearly impossible to save. This is not about a single romantic relationship, but about the long journey of a band lost on a road too winding to return from. The controversy surrounding Phil Spector's version sharpened the conflict between Paul and John. Lennon loved the grand orchestration, Paul hated it. Yet behind that technical debate, Lennon never denied the song's core strength. He felt that The Long and Winding Road was a recording of collective exhaustion, not only Paul's, but the entire band's. An honesty like that rarely appears twice in music history. Number 6. Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter was born out of a sense of challenge. Paul read that there was a band harder than the Beatles, and his reaction was simple. Really? The result was a song that was brutal, chaotic, and nearly uncontrollable. Distortion, screaming, erratic tempo, everything felt like deliberate disorder. John Lennon, usually the symbol of the Beatles' wild side, was forced to acknowledge that Paul had jumped into the noise abyss first. Ironically, Paul did it without losing structure. For Lennon, this was a moment that could not be ignored. Paul was not just a writer of beautiful melodies, he could be dangerous too.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me.
Let It Be was born not from artistic ambition, but from inner exhaustion. Paul wrote it after dreaming about his mother, Mary, who had died years earlier. In that dream, there was no complicated advice, no grand solution, just one simple phrase: let it be, let it go, accept it. That simplicity is precisely what makes the song feel heavy. Let It Be is not about giving up, but about stopping the fight against things that can no longer be changed. At a time when the Beatles were on the verge of collapse, Paul offered something almost radical: calm. For John Lennon, this attitude nearly contradicted his entire way of life. John Lennon survived through conflict. He wrote to fight, to question, to shake things apart. Calmness always felt suspicious to him, as if it meant compromise or even defeat. And yet, that is exactly why he respected Let It Be. Lennon instinctively knew that true peace is far more difficult to write than anger. This song does not force listeners to change. It does not preach. It does not offer false enlightenment. It simply exists, calm, steady, and honest. And for Lennon, whose life was almost always emotionally noisy, that presence felt foreign and admirable at the same time. Number 4. Penny Lane.
Penny Lane, there is a barber showing photographs of every head he's had.
Paul did not write Penny Lane as a sentimental childhood nostalgia. He constructed it like a small-town architect with a solid foundation, precise details, and spaces that feel alive. Every line of the song functions like a window. The barber, the banker, the fireman, none of them are grand symbols, just ordinary slices of life. And yet, from that ordinariness, Paul created something timeless. Penny Lane does not say the past was beautiful, it simply shows it without commentary. John Lennon quickly realized that this song was the inverted mirror of Strawberry Fields Forever, where Lennon dove into the labyrinth of his own mind, full of confusion, fractured memories, and identity searches. Paul opened a wide window to the outside world, a world that was real, structured, and understandable. And Lennon respected that. He knew not everyone could turn something trivial into an emotional space anyone could inhabit. Penny Lane is not about Paul, it is about us, and that is a strength not all songwriters possess. Number 3, Hey Jude.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad.
Officially, Hey Jude was written for Julian Lennon, Paul's attempt to comfort a child trapped in his parents' divorce. But from the very beginning, John Lennon felt something else. He felt the song was speaking directly to him, not as an accusation, not as criticism, but as an invitation. Take a sad song and make it better sounds almost too simple to be life advice, yet that simplicity is precisely its power. Paul does not say what is wrong, he does not point fingers, he simply creates space for someone to breathe. The song's long, repetitive structure is no accident. It builds time, giving listeners the chance to sit with their emotions without being pushed to escape them immediately. For Lennon, it felt like a form of empathy he had rarely received in his life. Hey Jude does not ask Lennon to change, it simply says, "You are not alone." And for someone who had felt isolated for most of his life, that was a profound gift. Number 2, Yesterday.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far.
When Lennon said that Yesterday wasn't a Beatles song, many interpreted it as a dig. But behind that statement was a much more honest, even painful admission. Lennon knew the song stood on its own. It did not need a band, an era, or a cultural context. Yesterday could live at any time in anyone's hands across any generation. And Lennon knew one crucial thing. He could not write a song like this. Not because he lacked talent, but because Yesterday demanded a different kind of vulnerability. This was not a scream of loss, but acceptance of it, a defeat expressed without anger, sadness that did not seek someone to blame. For Lennon, that acknowledgement did not need to be spoken aloud. Keeping a slight distance from the song was enough. Sometimes distance is the highest form of respect. Number 1, Eleanor Rigby.
Look at all the lonely people.
There is no love here, no hope, no resolution. Eleanor Rigby is a song about people who live and die without ever truly being seen. Loneliness is not treated as a grand tragedy, but as an everyday condition. And that is precisely what makes it so haunting. Paul wrote this song with cold empathy, without sentimentality, without any attempt to fix his character's fate. He simply observed, recorded, let the loneliness exist. John Lennon recognized this as a breakthrough. At this point, Paul no longer functioned as a counterbalance to Lennon's harsh edge. He stood on his own as a writer with genuine psychological depth. In Eleanor Rigby, Paul transcended the pop song format, transcended band expectations, and even transcended the role long attached to him. And Lennon knew it, even if he rarely, or perhaps never, said it out loud.